very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what we, and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay, one more for the Prime Minister.
Mr. President.
Are you good for the Prime Minister?
Yes, and
Go ahead, for the
you
Prime
too.
Minister.
Thank you very much. Japan's DJ Press. Japan's biggest concern is China. Now they're giving us export control and very harsh terms to criticize us.
Show some love.
We went in very hard.
Ceasefire, because Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. Would you say that Pope?
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that. Thank you.
So, first and foremost, we give our praises, all honor, all glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem, Rakakwadash, and double honor to the apostles, the bishops, the elders, the GMS. Shalom to you, brothers, preachers, truth and sincerity across the four winds of the earth. And bear with me. I'm under the weather. Been slowly getting over this cold that I have. So excuse the voice and the coughing. But I just want to touch on this real fast. Right. How Trump, right, these people are cruel leaders, man. Right. Because first off, you have talking about there's no surprises. You should have told me about Japan, Pearl Harbor. You could see that she wasn't the Japan's prime minister. She wasn't too happy about what he said, but of course, she had to just put on a smile, act like it was a joke. But you can see in her posture, her face when he said it, uncalled for. But then Trump's not talking about he doesn't want a ceasefire. Because you're so-called winning and all the leaders are dead, but you can't confirm any of this information, right, on any media news outlet anywhere. So you're just getting on the news and lying. Now this is a little old, not super old, probably like a couple of days. Since I've been sick, I literally just been sleeping. Yeah, 3/11, right? So. And then this is what we want. Even though we know we still got a lot of things to happen, but this, it could be a ceasefire, it could be a calm down, right? But we just gotta keep watching and hoping that, this leads to something else. Right? But we know eventually, even if it does end the ceasefire, and they end up calming things, go back to so-called normal for a little bit, we know it's gonna be a point in time, right, to where that it's not going to be a ceasefire where they're going to go all out, right? And you can tell, right? And I believe, like, Trump is the last guy. Trump is the guy to usher in, World War III, Jacob's trouble, so on and so forth. Right? I can see it, man, because he just has no filter, He just says whatever's on his mind. Doesn't think before he speaks. Just speaks because he's under heavy blackmail under the elites, so he's going to do whatever they want. He's going to do whatever they tell him to do, right? He's going to do whatever they tell him to do, and so he doesn't care about you American people. He doesn't care about oil prices and gas and how it's affecting the economy. He doesn't care because he's here to do the bidding of the elite. So whatever the elite says he's going to do it. and he's gonna have to face the backlash, which he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care about what you people talking about on Twitter or the videos you go on podcasts and make and say this and that. He doesn't care. Right? None of that matters. So, but we know eventually, right, that America's allies, right, which you can see they're probably slowly, right, now getting fed up with it, right? Fed up with America and their BS, right? Because they're just operating pretty much on their own. Right, they're starting wars, bombing places, and then they're trying to, get their allies involved, and the allies don't want no part. Right, so eventually they're gonna disband, right, from America, right, and start siding with these other countries, right, and then all gonna shoot missiles over here, right. So. That's what eventually is going to end up happening. But we know that's going to take some time, right? But we know that the time is moving forward. And the more Trump's get on the news and open his mouth, the more he starts to just say whatever he wants to say and just do whatever he wants to do. The nations are becoming sick of America's folly, man. Right, and then America, see, they're just operating on whatever they want to do, right? But they're also doing what? They're not holding meetings or to see if the allies want to be involved. They're just doing whatever they want to do, and then just try to drag their allies into it, and they're not having none of that. They're like, nah, we're not doing that. Right, we're not here trying to just start shit for no reason, man. And that's what Trump's doing. Yeah, that's what the elites want to do because they're trying to conquer that territory, right? Which is extremely hard to do, right? So he's on the news lying, talking about we're the street killed all their leaders. Where's the news clips at? Where's the media coverage that all the Iranian leaders are dead? And let's say if that was the case, you still wouldn't be able to get in there. Right, you're gonna have to use some serious force to get up in there. You're gonna have to use some hydrogen bombs. You're gonna have to use something. You're gonna have to use some deadly stuff because Iran, right, is covered by a lot of natural, land, mountains, and all these hills, and best believe they've been spending years and years and years fortifying themselves. And you putting boots on the ground is not you're just. The only thing you're doing is just giving people, you're just sacrifices. That's all they're doing. Right? It's a bigger agenda than just trying to get Iran under control. Right? They're over here sacrificing US troops, right? And so on and so forth. Because that land, like he said, now we're going to do boots on the ground. And that's how we know a draft is going to end up coming back. Because it's so many people that's dying, right? Of course that they're not, of course, saying on the news that they're going to need people to fight. And just like how, well, it was a thing that popped up in my feed like a week or so ago, where you got an Apple phone. Sometimes like the news will pop up, like the Apple News or whatever. And one of the articles popped up. It was saying that some helicopter crashed or something like that, right? Some helicopter had crashed, and that made the death toll of the Americans in this war so far was 13. Which is nothing but lies. So you're telling me only 13 people has died since you've been putting boots on the ground in this territory that no nation has ever been able to fully conquer. Come on, man. Cut it out. But that's what they're doing, man. They're just lying to make it seem like they're giving the upper hand. But meanwhile, you can tell that they're lying because the economy is feeling the effects. If you was doing all this winning, don't you think we would be seeing, a decrease of things? But everything is increasing because y'all getting y'all ass handed it to y'all. Right, and now they're talking about Trump made a tweet today, I think it was, or last night, about talking about he was going to destroy some type of big oil rig or something in Iran. Let me see if I can actually. Let's see. Donald Trump. Let's see here. Donald. Here we go. Donald here. Let's see. It's actually him. Let's see. And now his damn wife got a fucking movie. Ain't nobody watching that shit. Oh, no, this is not the right Twitter account. Where's the other one at? The one he tweeted it from was it's the one that he has the flag as his like profile picture with his face in it. I wonder if there's a way to find it. Let's see. Now, there's another account that he has where his face is like a flag, but it's his face, the American flag, but it's him. And that's where account that it was tweeted off of. So they're not looking to Donald Trump. Why does it keep? Jeez. And it just keeps always just okay. Whatever. I can't find it. If I find it, I'll put it in the post production and so on and so forth. But I just want to just read this real quick. Then I'm gonna close out. Right, it's Revelation 17:14. It says, "Victory for the Lamb." It says, "These shall make war with the Lamb, right, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords, and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked." And what are the 10 horns? The 10 horns, right, are the 10 subordinate nations, right, that's underneath the whore, which is Babylon, right? So, so eventually they're going to end up breaking, right, these EU nations, they're going to end up breaking, right, their alliance with these people, because they're going to get fed up, right? And since America, like this says in Daniel, right, it looks more stout than the fellows, they're going to get fed up, right? They're going to get fed up. They're going to be tired of it. It's like, okay, man, at this point, and you can also read it in the NOT version of Obadiah, where it talks about they're going to, their allies are going to turn on them and so on and so forth, which I'm not going to get it, but that's what's going to end up happening. So America right now, they're strong because these people have given, they've given over all their power unto America, right? They've given the power to the beast. But eventually they're going to be like, you know what, enough is enough, right? And we're going to go side with Russia and so on and so forth. And what's going to end up happening, let's keep reading. "And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast," right? Here it is right there. "And to the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And it's not talking about just one city, man. People go, what city? One city reigns over the whole entire earth, man. That these other nations, right? They're going to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast. So what are you talking about? You people just have no clue. But that's it, man. I just wanted to touch on that. So I'm gonna close out.